So, sitting next to me is the one and only Joyner Lucas.
What's up? What's up?
Thank you so much for being here with me, man.
Thank you for having me here, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Awesome. So this is the Free Thinkers interview series, man, but I'm going to just dive right into it.
Let's do it.
You know, I'm a fan of yours.
Appreciate
and
you.
I think like a lot of people, I'm not going to say most, but like a lot of people, I got put on somewhat early when you dropped the Ross Cappuccioni video. Right? That was definitely a milestone for you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fans that came from that.
Yeah.
And I noticed that ever since then, you've been very consistent with the high-powered visuals.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about why it's so important for you to do that and why you put so much focus on, I'm sure, putting fire videos out.
Each video and record has a different concept, and these are things that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. Each issue, such as Ross, which pretty much covers the topic of trust. I'm Sorry, which covers the topic of suicide.
Heavy one.
Champagne for Everybody, which covers the topic of forgiveness. So all these have points, you know, and there's reasons why I create these records. And this is the way that I express myself and how I see the world and how I want the world to kind of see the world.
Yeah.
And I pretty much use music videos and my art to convey that message.
Dope. And don't forget Happy Birthday.
Happy Birthday.
That's a fire visual
right.
as well.
Happy Birthday is another one. Yeah.
So you mentioned like the theme, right, around all these different ideas.
Mm-hmm.
What's your process like when it comes up for the music video? Is it like I have this visual concept I want to get out first, or is it always the song first?
It's always the visual first. So
wow.
I'll be thinking of ideas for, you know, videos, and then I'll build the song around the video. So I pretty much write the music, the video treatment first, and then from there I'll go into creating the record. Yeah.
Dope. And I think that's a little contrary to what most artists do.
Right. Well, I take the video first approach because that's pretty much where you know, that's why my fans love me, and that's the reputation that I built. And, you know, I'm not trying to be like anybody else, so I can only do what I do. You feel me?
Respect. Are you also a heavy consumer of videos? Do you watch other people's music videos or?
Yeah, sometimes I do. A lot of times I don't, because I don't like to be influenced by different ideas and stuff. You know, I kind of like to just use my own mind and brain, and, you know, it's just natural for people to get influenced, so I try to stay away from, you know, being influenced. I don't like people to compare my music videos to other things. Right. But a lot of my influence comes from my era, you know, growing up. Yeah. You know, Eminem era, you know what I'm saying, the Nas era, Bone Thugs era, you know, the Crossroads. I mean, that was an emotional video. Absolutely. You know, there was those videos, it was records like that created an emotional connection between the consumer and, you know, the artist, you know what I'm saying? And those are the videos that I get. Yeah.
That's dope. I mean, I like that you mentioned the connection, you know, between just like the artist and the fan. Yeah. And I noticed that obviously even with the new album that you dropped, right? There's that phone number there. Yep. You know, and I know that you've always been someone who's it's important for you to connect to your fans. Absolutely. And you even use platforms like Superphone, right? Yep. So talk to me a little bit about like why that connection is so important, you know, outside the video, just like in general. Right. Talk to me about that.
I believe the connection is very important for artists to have with the consumer, because everything now is so social media driven. Yeah. And, you know, a lot of the times, I mean, it's how does an artist connect with I mean, how does a fan connect with their artist now when it's just, you know, they have IG pages and Facebook pages, but there's thousands and millions of fans that's writing to them and, you know, hitting them up and commenting, and, you know, you can't really respond to everybody. So, you know, that was my way of trying to, you know, let the fans know that, you know, I want you to be able to hit me up on a personal level, and I might just pick up, I might just answer, I might call you back. You know what I'm saying? But that was basically me connecting on a personal level with my fans, and I think that's extremely important.
Have you gotten a good response, like, from doing that, putting the number out there?
Yeah, I'm the first person that named, you know, an album or a project, shall I say, after a phone number. You know, it's been done, you know, the number, putting a song, you know what I'm saying?
Right, like even Soulja Boy with the early on, or Mike Jones,
Mike Jones has done it, you know.
But I think you definitely took it to another level.
But I took it to another level, and I figured out a way to, you know, utilize that, and now I'm able to connect my fans and send them all the music videos first. They'll receive that first. They received all the, messages about where I'm gonna be at first. They'll receive, all the merch that drop. They get to see it first. So it's just a way of them just getting the early access to everything that's going on.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
that's what's up. And I think you're gonna see more hip hop artists and artists in general probably follow your footsteps when it comes to.
That's fine. That's what it's about.
Yeah. That's what's up. So you had mentioned a couple minutes ago just like how we're in a social media world right now.
Yeah.
But I saw one of your tweets recently. You were talking about like, you were like, if I wasn't Joyner Lucas, I probably wouldn't even have social media.
There's been times in the past, about 5 years ago where when I wasn't anybody, and I would go on a little, a hiatus from social media, and I would delete my Facebook and Instagram just because I feel like it was so negative.
Yeah.
And, I just feel like that, negative energy is extremely, I'm very sensitive to it.
Yeah.
I'm very sensitive to energy. I'm really very sensitive to vibrational energy and spirituality, and I'm real, I'm real sensitive to emotion. I'm sensitive to positivity. I'm sensitive to a lot of stuff. I can read body language really good, and a lot of that stuff affects my day.
Absolutely.
And it affects a lot of people's day.
With or without them knowing it.
Without them knowing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just by me, I wake up in a good mood and I'm happy, and I'm on, social media, and I'm seeing, dogs getting, abused. I'm seeing, animal cruelty. I'm seeing, people judgmental of other people. I'm seeing all this stuff, and it slowly starts to put me in a downward mood, and I notice it carries me, carries with me throughout my day, and I don't like harnessing that negative energy. So. Yeah. I sometimes I think about, like, if I wasn't who I was and I didn't have to connect with my fans like that, then I won't have a social media. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Respect. And I can tell just by that answer alone, but a number of other things, that you're very conscious of mental health, right?
Absolutely.
And just the understanding that, these things affect us as people.
Absolutely.
So for you, in the context of, like, hip-hop, tell me about your perspective on, like, mental health and the relationship it has with hip-hop. Because I feel like sometimes hip-hop has not always been like a platform where people are jumping out to talk about mental health.
A lot of people aren't talking about mental health. A lot of people aren't talking about a lot of things because hip-hop has kind of been, a place where everybody likes to follow everybody, and whatever's working, whatever trend is going on at that time is what is going on at that time, and people are afraid to be themselves and talk about what's really affecting them, and talk about what their life is really like, and talk about how much money they really got, and talk about all these things that I'm not afraid to talk about.
Real talk.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I never wondered, I always wondered coming up, like, how come, artists don't really say what it really is, and it's because they're afraid of being judged.
Yeah.
So, one thing that I wanted to let people know, when, in the record I'm Sorry, is that, it's okay, it's okay to connect with this record. It's okay to feel these things, and I wanted more people to come out and talk about it, and call that suicide number and get some help if they felt like that.
Yeah. Respect. Hella respect for that.
Yeah.
And one of the things, I want to talk about the album a little bit. Throughout there, I really liked how you had the theme of bringing the voicemails as the skits throughout, which obviously ties really well into the name of the album, etc.
Yeah.
But there was one skit in particular that caught me where it was the bull left the voicemail, and he was just like, "Who you think you are to give that advice
to a child?" Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I sat on that, and I'm just like, damn, but like, if not you, someone who is very transparent about a lot of the things that you go through, a lot of the things you care about, why not you, right? So I guess my question to you is, like, do you feel that way, the way the bull was leaving that voicemail, right? Like, you're not worthy to give that advice? And if not, what is your barometer of, like, who should be giving that advice, right?
I feel like, not just with that voicemail, but, in a lot of other voicemails, or even in life in general, I feel like you should have a certain qualification to, give advice about anything. If I didn't have some level of experience with with the suicide thing, I wouldn't even be qualified to talk about that.
Right.
As far as Just Like You, a lot of these records is a reflection of what I've seen growing up, what I've been through growing up, and in that case, it gives me the qualification to talk about such things. So, and there's some people that shouldn't be qualified to give advice. You shouldn't be qualified to say certain things so that voicemail was very important.
Absolutely.
What I mean?
Absolutely. And one of the things that it led me to think about was just like that idea of who's qualified and who's not. I think with the idea about social media that you spoke on, it's like I feel like a lot of people who know better and know right and who are qualified to speak up don't.
Yeah.
Whereas like the people who don't really know shit, they have no qualms about yelling to the rooftops, right?
Yep.
So it's like, where do you think that like the role of like leadership comes in for artists, right, who build a platform? Like, do you think there's any responsibility for artists to be leaders and like stand up for certain things?
Yeah, I believe depending on who the artist is.
Okay.
Again, it goes back to qualifications.
Right.
You know, I don't want to see an artist, you know, I don't want to see an artist like in certain artists, like Lil Bow Wow has talked about things that he shouldn't. People have been like, shut up.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't even be talking about that, or you shouldn't even say this because you're not qualified to.
Yeah.
You know, R. Kelly put a tweet up the other day or something, and people are like, "Why would you know what I'm talking about?"
Absolutely.
And people are like, "Why would you say that? Like, you're not even qualified to make a joke like that or say that because you know you've been guilty of doing certain things." So I feel like depending on the artist and depending on their brand and depending on who they are and how much people respect them,
facts,
they should, you know, definitely speak up.
Okay.
But I don't think anybody should speak about certain things.
Okay. So from your perspective, the messenger plays a role in that message.
Because it plays a role in whether or not the people are going to respect the person saying it, or they're going to, you know, judge the person saying it based off of their qualifications of them not being able to. You understand what I'm saying?
I hear that.
So it depends. If Jay-Z said something, you know, and he did it with 444.
Yeah.
You know, or in the other record, Still Nigga.
Facts.
You know,
the OJ joint.
The OJ joint. Yeah. You know, and people were like, dog, this is crazy. This is woke. But if somebody like, if Bow Wow, not to keep throwing Bow Wow under the bus,
right.
you know,
but I got you.
You get what I'm saying? If somebody else, you know, that didn't have those qualifications, you know, to try to make a record like that, it wouldn't work. J. Cole could do it, you know, Kendrick. There's certain people
let me
that
ask
can
you
do
this
certain
then.
things.
Back, kind of to tie back to that video thing, right? There was a really powerful video that I saw recently, just as a hip hop consumer, right? The Bull XX Extension.
Yes.
Did you see the new one he put out for Look at Me, the video?
I've seen that.
You didn't see it yet?
I've seen it.
Oh, you saw it?
I've seen it.
So for him, right, there's like some context to what people believe about him as a person.
What you're saying is the same thing that I just said about people feeling that he's not qualified to talk about certain things like that because he's been guilty, or maybe not guilty, but allegedly, allegedly been, you know, the finger's been pointing at him about, you know, whether or not he abused or whatever he did, but people felt like he's not qualified.
Right.
And I did see the video.
Yeah, because that had me torn, right? Because I'm like, yo, what you just did with your platform is dope. What you said was dope. But who you are might not line up with that.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think and you know, these are not just things that are allegedly, but these are things that came out of his own mouth that people feel like you shouldn't have said that, or you shouldn't have done that because it conflicts with what you're saying that you believe in. When you just said that you just hope that, you know, your dick goes down somebody's little sister's throat, but at the same time you're saying it just doesn't make any sense.
You're saying equality is important.
So in that sense, you know, it just doesn't make any sense. But I think he's a great artist. Very different. I loved his project. I thought his project was amazing. Actually, I was very surprised because I didn't think I would like it, and I loved it.
Yeah,
you know?
I almost wasn't sure if like he was pulling a fast one on us all by just like sparking up the controversy or what. But we'll leave that alone.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I could tell just from listening to this newest project was, I could tell you're really a fan of the music and the history of hip hop.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
And I thought it was super special that you had Mystical on there, man.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, bro. Like, just because that's a legend, and I know that, you know, you had a privileged relationship with like Busta Rhymes and legends like that. So
the crazy thing is, I never met him.
Still?
I still haven't met Mystical.
Oh man, word.
Kind of let down a little bit because, you know, when we did the track initially, it was a connection. My manager had, you know, a relationship they had, whatever. And, you know, he did the verse, sent it through the email, you know, whatever the case may be, something, you know.
Verse was hot.
Appreciate it. And I thought it was dope, too, which is the reason why I let it, you know. Yeah. And I thought maybe after that, you know, he'd reach out or, you know, we would talk or, you know, whatever. And even to this day, I never have received a phone call. And again, that record got in the Madden joint. It's gotten the Madden game. You know what I'm saying?
Congratulations for that.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So I just feel like, you know, at the very least, like, you know what I'm saying? But I understand.
It's time. Mystical, what's up, bro?
He's going through his own thing right now. Shout out to Mystical. It's not a problem. No, it's cool.
Sure. And my last question, man. I also I was on your social media at one point, and I saw you had a picture of your fam, your parents, and they had like the tats. They were just showing hella support.
Yeah.
For someone, you know, in your position, man, where you're gaining a ton of success. early on and even now, how important do you think it is for creatives to have that support system?
It should. Everybody should have that support system. I was lucky enough to have, 2 parents that, definitely show support. My mom, she's a heavy supporter. My pops, he's a heavy supporter. He's at all the shows, you know what I'm saying? Comes with me on my media runs and stuff like that. I want him to come with me, and he doesn't want anything from me but to just support. You know what I'm saying? And my mom, it's the same thing. She just wanted support. They got tattoos of the FAD movement. They got all that, and I'm very grateful for that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my mom's pop.
That's dope. But what's next? What can we expect next from Joyner Lucas, man? Like, again, I've been following you for a couple years, but for, let's say, someone who may be a new fan or maybe isn't a fan at all, what should they expect from Joyner Lucas over the next 1 year, 5 years? Like, what's in the cards for you, man?
A lot more concepts and visuals that needed to be touched on that haven't been touched on yet.
Word.
There's lots of them.
Right. Give me one preview. Like, what's one concept that you like? Yeah, I'm about to fuck this. I'm about to fuck your head up with this one. Like,
I feel like if I did that, then it gives somebody else room to do it before I do, and I don't want that to happen. But I will say that I'm just you can always expect deep visuals from me, but at the same time, though, I want you to know that as much as the visuals and the storytelling reflect who I am, and that's a huge part of who Joyner Lucas is, and I pride myself in that.
Yeah.
There's also other records that don't really have the storytelling, aspect of it that, kind of thump too, and they got their own little, vibe to it, and it's real different, but it's still dope. So
as you said that, when you said you got the other records as well, I gotta ask this too, because one of the things I noticed about you that I really appreciate is I feel like you keep the remix culture alive.
Right. Yeah.
With
I love doing that.
Right, with certain joints you jump on and it's fun, and that's good for the culture. How do you feel about that? Because not everyone still does that. Do you think that's an important part of hip hop?
I used to be against it.
Word.
I was against people jumping over other people's beats.
What, the Panda joint you got on?
Right, but
you
when
got
I did
on the Mask Off DNA.
Right, I did Mask Off DNA and Panda. Those are the 3 I did. Before I did Panda, that was the beginning. That was the start. Before I did Panda, even years before then, I was like, bro, I don't ever want to because there was so many people doing that, and I'm like, bro, the original song is dope, and no, I'm not trying to hear somebody over the same beat and because they followed the same pattern of the lyrics, they followed the same hook, they just changed the words and just, you know what I'm saying? So when I did it my way, I made it Joyner Lucas record. Right. This is what I would do over this beat. If this was my beat first, this is what I would do. And the Panda record just stemmed from me just being pissed off about hearing a million remixes over that, and I'm like, yo,
and no one did it justice,
right? You're not even doing it right. Let me show you how to do it. Mask Off. I was bored, and that beat was so crazy, I couldn't help it, bro. I was like, bro, I can't help it. I have to do so it was called Mask On, and I'm like, Mask Off. It's time to take the mask off, and Mask Off, put the mask on, whatever the hell it was, and then the DNA Kendrick joint. There was no remixes to that.
Yeah, you were one of the first.
Afraid to touch, a Kendrick record. You know what I'm saying? But just because
a lot of people not qualified to try to touch a Kendrick record.
Exactly. It's about qualifications at the end of the day. And if you're not qualified to touch certain records, just don't touch them. And people haven't done them. You know what I'm saying? But I did my thing on it. I feel like I brought Joyner Lucas, to the record. I started it off like Kendrick and flipped it, what I mean? But yeah.
Okay. And we'll end it like this. So a big audience of Rec Philly is young creatives, right? Yeah. People who aspire to be, full-time creatives, photographers, artists. Where you are now, a lot of people would die to be, they would kill to be where you're at, right? What are the things that you feel like you've learned now that you've been in the industry for a little while that you think it's important for a young creative to know?
So I would, a couple years ago, I would have killed to be in my position now, too.
Facts,
I'll tell you that. It took a lot of hard work to get where I'm at, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of time and energy spent on perfecting my craft, and I would say that, this is not just a game with fun and games.
Right.
No, it's not just, just turn up and, unless that's your lifestyle. You know what I mean? And
it's not all just being in the lights,
It's not all just being in the lights. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of interviews. It's a lot of media runs. It's a lot of grunt work that you don't want to do, but you have to do. It's a lot of talking to people you don't want to talk to. It's a lot of relationship building. In this game is just full of, it's politics, and there's a lot of stuff involved that I don't think people are aware of because they don't see that side of the game. Instead, they see the glitz and glamours and the money and, everything else. So I was told this a long time ago that, I was in for a rude awakening in this game, and I didn't understand, when my man Sky Zoo, Sky Zoo, shout out to Sky Zoo.
Yeah, that's a legend right there,
yeah,
man.
Yeah, I didn't understand when he told me, about 5 years ago on the phone, like, bro, trust me, this game is not what you think, bro. And I'm like, what you mean? I kept saying, what you mean? What do you mean? Explain it. How do you? I can't explain it, but you're going to see. And I've got to see.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm a different person now because of it. Yeah. And
but that's to make sure you want it, though, because it's not for 100%, everybody.
So this game is no different than the streets, bro. Like, it's literally, I'm going to say that. This music game is no different than, being in the streets. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of fuck shit that go on, a lot of hate and shit, a lot of people trying to block your success, a lot of people trying to take from you, a lot of people trying to take your spot, a lot of, shit that you have to do that you don't want to do. And then on top of all that, you got to keep creating great content and keep doing the things that you're supposed to do. And,
with consistency.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would tell you, man. It's not easy.
Cool. Yo, man, I appreciate your time, bro. This has been dope.
Thank you, bro.
So this has been another installment of the Free Thinkers interview series. Sitting here with Joyner Lucas, Will Toms. We out.
Once again, what's up? This is Joyner Lucas, and you are now tuned in to the Free Thinkers interview series, and we back here at the Trocadero in Philadelphia. I'm about to go on stage and kill shit. You already know what it is.